So the spread is the revenue center for the broker, right? You're earning revenue every time the client clicks and pays the spread, which is the transaction cost of the trade. And when you look at how you price your clients, an important aspect of that is understanding what markup to the spread you can apply. So the broker itself is receiving a spread from any number of liquidity providers that you're working with over time, and you're earning money from the markup to the spread that you're receiving. And so the big question is do I mark up different instruments by more or less than others? And the answer there is certainly yes. And another question is do I mark up certain instruments more or less depending upon client groups or the activity of certain clients versus other clients? Again, the answer is definitely yes. What you will find, and if you're a trader yourself, which many individuals who are looking to start brokers are coming from a trading background themselves, then you might know that if you're an active trader with a broker, you have leverage because you can go back and often pursue tighter spreads than what you might be getting currently. And many times the broker will cater to that because you are bringing very good business to the broker. And so from the brokerage side, being able to mark up or mark down spreads really in real time is something that you need to be able to do, and the back office solutions we have make that very, very feasible, very easy to do. And so as you move forward, just keep that in mind, and we will make you experts in how to understand the pricing behind instruments and the pricing behind client groups so that you can adjust them as you move forward, to pursue the revenue goals that the broker has month in and month out. It's a big part of maximizing your profits month to month is being able to adjust the spreads properly and being able to do it quickly when you need to do it. The question when you open the broker that is popular is, where do we open a bank account, right? Which types of banks will accept client deposits from traders? And this actually ties into the regulatory realm, which we go over with you. And so it's a very important topic, and the intellectual property around what banks right now, as of 2017, are available for you or at your disposal to take on clients is very selective, actually, around the world. And it's important to know the landscape there and what it means for you as a broker. So do I pursue a bank account in Europe? Do I pursue a bank account offshore in a place like the Caribbean? What makes the most sense for me? What fees am I going to incur with one bank versus another? How do I, if I open a bank offshore where perhaps I might not ever physically go there, how does it work when hundreds of thousands of dollars are piling up in a bank account? What is the procedure for moving those funds back to the broker? How does all that work, and how do you make it easy for me? And so these are questions we answer really week to week for our current broker clients, and there are options there. And that is really the important point to know, is that you do have some nice options, and there are some great banks out there right now that we currently work with that would love your business, knowing that you're going to go to great lengths to make the broker a success, and they know that the brokerage industry is very lucrative for them, as far as the type of volumes of business that can be introduced to the bank. So speak with us about that, and we will give you all the details you need. Having a strong foundation when you start the broker is very important, and the time will come when you have in the tens of thousands of clients, and that's an exciting stage to be at. If you look at some of the brokers today that launched less than 10 years ago, some of those brokers are now publicly listed on exchanges with hundreds of thousands of clients, and that is possible for your broker as well. And the important point in the first couple months of launching the brokerage is really to get the foundation in place in all of these critical areas: the operational area, when we talk about bank accounts and payment service providers, the platform, getting the branding done, getting all the instruments plugged in, getting the liquidity provider plugged in, taking care of business, taking care of the critical core aspects that the broker will need to as it moves forward. Because once you start growing, the focus really does largely shift to marketing and sales, and you want to have the peace of mind in the beginning that your infrastructure is strong. And that's really what we focus on with you in those first 30 to 60 days leading up to launch, and the following couple of months after launch. If all of that is in place properly, you can see explosive growth, right? And you're pursuing this industry, you're pursuing the prospect of launching a brokerage because you know there's explosive growth. There are plenty of examples out there right now, not just publicly listed brokers, but also other brokers who have achieved enormous growth in several years' time. And that's why this market is so attractive to many people, particularly traders, in terms of looking at starting their own brokerage. You know, the key in the beginning is really to dig your heels in with our assistance and get those building blocks of the broker in place first. Once you have that, you can go from 100 clients to thousands of clients very, very quickly. And so work with us, get that infrastructure in place, and let's grow. Where you incorporate the company initially really comes down to the type of legal infrastructure that you want around the broker in the beginning, and what the implications of that legal infrastructure mean as far as ease of getting a bank account, ease of getting payment service providers plugged into the broker's website, meaning when clients want to deposit with the broker via Visa or MasterCard, which is typically the most common method used of any broker. What is the ease of getting that operational infrastructure in place based on where you initially incorporated the company? Okay, and is there a regulatory framework in that country? Can you open up a bank account in that specific country, or do you have to go outside of that country to get the bank account for the broker initially? So these are all commonly asked questions and very good questions because, again, it comes back to having that strong infrastructure in the beginning while keeping your costs down as much as you can. And so our solution is really accounting for those two key components of getting you that really strong, rock-solid infrastructure that really can carry the broker for years if you choose. You know, you can go for very high-level regulation later on, certain types of bank accounts with our assistance as well if you pursue. But really, our initial solution is intended to give you that rock-solid infrastructure in an economical way. So you're not breaking the bank to get the broker launched. If you come from a trader's background and you happen to know other traders in the marketplace, then you're probably familiar that traders come in many different shapes and sizes, right? Certain traders would describe themselves as highly active traders. Other traders would describe themselves as more position traders. And then, of course, probably the largest segment of the market is beginner traders, okay, which are in the millions. And so knowing the trader segment that you are targeting, you might be targeting all of those segments, but understanding how your marketing dollars and your sales dollars are going to be put to use to go after those markets in combination, or perhaps a certain one segment more selectively, is very, very important, because that is going to tie into the where you go get traffic for your site primarily, right? Your broker's website should operate as a conversion funnel in and of itself. And that's a big goal of the broker. It might not happen on day one, okay, but over time, as the brand recognition of the broker grows among the trader segments that you're targeting, you want the site really to be able to convert traders on its own. If you're doing that, you really are in golden territory, because the growth will come very naturally. And the sales infrastructure that you build will be able to pile on top of that. And so knowing the type of trader to begin with that you're going after is very important. Are you targeting beginners? If you are, fantastic. There's millions of them out there. There's a lot of money to be made in the brokerage industry just looking at the beginner trader segment. If you expand beyond that to active traders, specific types of traders, that's all well and good as well. And if you target those people from the beginning, that's all well and good. But you really need to be decisive with our assistance as to what type of trader or what mix of trader types that you're going after, because that will definitely affect how you spend your marketing dollars in a digital marketing capacity, and who you're trying to attract.